Hi there everyone, it's Verity here from inkybutterfly.com. Thank you for joining me today for this video that goes alongside my blog post for the Inspire.Create.Challenges design team post. So this challenge that we've got running for the next week or so, week and a half, is a colour challenge using these 4 delightful colours. Oh, wonderful. So we've got 3 in colours: Misty Moonlight, Magenta Madness and Just Jade. Absolutely stunning colours. These ones will be retiring in the summer as well, so well, that would be a shame to have those disappear, but nonetheless, those are those. And then the yellow we've got here is Crushed Curry. Now the in colours do have Bumblebee in them, so if you've got Bumblebee, that might work as well in terms of a substitute. So that's what we are working with today for that. So if you just pop along to my blog post, you'll see there's a link to all the other to the challenge post, if you like, and then you can see what the other design team members have made. Likewise, if you look in the description of this video, there'll be a link straight to the Inspire Create blog as well. Lovely. If you would want to join in, you just take a snap of your project and upload it, and we choose a winner the following Wednesday. All right, so this is what we've got, and that's what we're using. So I'm just going to pop those to one side for a second. This is the card that we're going to make, and I'm going to recreate with you today. So I hope you like that. Light's not on, let me put that light on for you. Okay, so we've got some dimension in there, bringing in all those colours in a sort of quite subtle way, because the palette itself is quite bright, but wanted to make it, you know, nice and subtle and stuff. Okay, so products then. So a lot of the time I try not to use too much in the way of product on my cards, so that you can just have a nice short shopping list and just buy what you need. But I've gone to town a little bit on this one. We've got 2 stamp sets, dies and an embossing folder, okay, so, and punches and everything. So sentimental swirls, that's there for the florals. There is a thank you sentiment in there that you could sub out if you wanted to, but I just wanted to introduce something else, which is ornate thanks. So I've picked out that there. Quite like this because it's got quite nice straight edges to the font, just a personal preference thing. Okay, the embossing folder is the gingham embossing folder, so it's one of the regular folders. There you go. Not a 3D one, it's one of the thick ones. It's a regular embossing folder. And then these are Encircled in Beauty, that's what it's called, yeah. Dies. So this is a really lovely set, which gives you a lovely focal point on your cards. Okay, so this is the die that we used. There are some others in the set. Have a look. You will see there's a product link in the description, so you can go and have a look at what else is in there. So that's what we're using. I'm going to leave that out for a second. Okay, so just so that you know, I've done a little bit of stuff ahead of time. Basic white card base and a panel. Now the panel I've used on my sample card is a little shorter, but I'm going to use a full panel for this card, and I haven't been using full panels at all really, because I like to see the border, but because we're doing white on white, I thought we'll do a full panel. So that's going to measure 4 by 5 3/4 on a regular card base. I've already die cut my doily from with the dies and done all the poking out and stuff, so that's already done. And then I've just cut a strip of basic white there, ready for our sentiment. So a quick measure of the height of the sentiment told me it was 1/2 inch, so I've just added 1/8 on to give us plenty of room to add in that stamping, and I'll show you the punches I've used along the way as well. So that's what we're aiming for. So the first thing we're going to do is emboss our background. Let's put our card base to one side. So like I say, this is just a regular folder, and it does have a not direction, but it will show if it's wonky, if you know what I mean. It's because it's got straight lines on it. So I'm just eyeballing some of the grooves in there just to try and line up that as straight as possible. She says then knocking it out of place, so we'll just pop that down. And on the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, it will show you exactly what sandwich you need for each of the functions. So if you're cutting, embossing, or using 3D embossing folders, so with a standard embossing folder, okay, we want our base plate, which is one of these, and we want 2 of our number 3 plates. So we take out this number 2, which is for the which is used for die cutting. We have so this is my number 3, but I'm just using it this way around to just get as much use out of it as possible. Place down your embossing folder on your cardstock, put another number 3 plate on top, and we're going to run that through the machine, and it will just run through really, really nice and easily. You don't need to do it twice, you just run it through once, and that will be amazing. Okay, so a bit of clunking and whatever in the background there, sorry, just while I wind that through. Okay, and then when you open that up, you have this wonderful texture. Okay, now with this one, because of the nature of the design, it probably doesn't matter which side is the front or the back, just so that you know. All right, and then while we've got it out in front of us, what I'm going to do is just apply a little bit of ink to this. So I'm just going to grab my this is my small grid paper mat, which I use for protecting my surface and stuff. So on the original, don't know whether you picked it up, but there's just a little bit of ink blending just to help that doily pop from the background a little bit. So I just did that with one of our gorgeous blending brushes. Get a pack of 3, and you don't need one for every colour, but what I've got is like one for light green, one for dark green, and that kind of thing. Okay, only need the merest bit of ink. I know roughly where it's going to go, and I'm going to start in the centre and sort of work my way out. So if you go steady and gradually build up the colour, you can always add more, but you can't take it away. So just doing a lovely circle of blending on the back there. This is totally optional, you don't have to do this, but I just felt that it helped that detail pop from the background with the embossing in there as well. All right, so that's what we've done there. All right, so that's those bits done, and as we've got our Just Jade ink pad out, I think what we'll do is we'll stamp our sentiment. If I can, yeah, there it is. This is that little strip of cardstock that I cut. As I say, it's 1/2 inch plus 1/8, so what would that be? 5/8 of an inch. 5/8 of an inch. Okay, so I'm just using, again, the grid paper is really useful for making sure everything's lined up. And that's how I mount my clear mount stamps as well. I just make sure that I have them straight on a grid first. Just some firm pressure down, lift it straight up. Perfect. So that's it, Just Jade's finished with. We don't need that again. Okay, and then what we can do is we can just trim down our banner here. Now I'm going to use tailored tag. There is the banner punch as well, the triple punch. But if you've got if you only want to buy one punch that will do a couple of different things, this would be the one. So you get the nice label, you can actually twist it round and get a hexagon out of that, and we can do a banner tail as well. So I'm going to put it down flat because it helps me just to keep grip of the cardstock. Pop that down just nip off the end, and we've got a lovely little banner tail there ready to go. So that was tailored tag, and we can just cut that down about there. Super precise, right, for that. Okay, so more scrap paper to the ready to do a little bit of stamping off, and some scrap card to do our flowers. So in no particular order, we have crushed curry, so first generation ink, straight down and up. Okay, and then with the solid image, I'm going to ink that up, stamp it off first, and then put that over the top. Sorry, you're just where I want to be, so if that's slightly off, I'm sure you'll forgive me. I think it's about there. Okay, oh, not too bad. Just wiping that off on a chamois that I've got just sort of off to the left there. Oh, Misty Moonlight. Almost dropped the pad then. Gonna pop this one over this end. Oh, that's a bit close to the edge, but I'm sure it'll be fine. And again, we'll stamp up the solid, ink up the solid, stamp it off once, and we will just, sorry if you can catch the top of my head there. Pop that on, clean it off. And then we have one more to do in Magenta Madness. That fabulous bright pink. I'm going to pop that in the middle there. The punch that we use is we'll cut various images, so you want these spaced out enough to make sure that they aren't. Oh, almost made a mistake then, didn't I? Want these spaced out enough so that those other images don't interfere with what you have stamped. So, which will, if you didn't understand what I meant there, you'll see in a minute when I punch those out. So that's it. Stamps all clean, ink's all done. Okay, so this set coordinates with the flowers and leaves punch. So we've got this image here, which is why I've stamped them in the X design, because that's how it is orientated on the punch itself. Okay, and we can just line those up. So I find a strip of cardstock's really useful for this kind of thing. So we can line that up in there, and whilst I've got that, see how that pink flower is dangerously close to that pink that leaf aperture there, but it's not going to interfere too much. You might just clip the corner a little bit, but that's why you want to space out those images if you're just using just one of those elements. All right, so we're just going to give that a firm punch and just hold on to those. All right. I do find it's useful just to take away some of the excess as you go, only because you just don't want to be creating lots of debris that might get trapped in your punch. So there we go, there's that one. Okay, just get rid of your punchy bits. And then we've got this last one here. The image is actually symmetrical, so it doesn't matter which way round you put it in, as long as it's in the right orientation. I just figured I'd have more to hold with this bit. Didn't factor that in with my little teeny tiny scrap of paper. But you know, hey ho, scraps are scraps, and they can be useful sometimes. Okay. Right, 3 flowers done. Let's get all that debris out of the punch. So that's ready to go for next time. We'll just clear that off the desk so it doesn't end up sandwiched in the middle of everything else. Okay, so I do like to add some shape to the flowers. Now I've got one of these ball tool thingies, but you can use that. You can use your bone folder, you can use the back of a pencil, yeah, whatever you've got, just press it into the palm of your hand like that, or something else soft if your hands hurt or something and you don't want to do that. Put it into you know, the back of a mouse mat, your stamp jammy, whatever, just to give yourself a little bit of shape to that. So we've got our elements all done, card base, and now all we need to do is construct our card. Okay, so because of the texture on this, I'm going to use wet glue. This is a brand new glue, so we'll just put a few lines of that along there. So that can go on there, and then the wet glue does give you a little bit of wriggle room as well to make sure you've got it straight. Give that a good press all around the edges. I'm not going to raise up the doily because we've got our other elements that are going to add dimension to the card, so we'll just pop that flat on the card. Something like in the middle. Next is the centre, which we will need some dimensionals for, which I've buried underneath all my bits and bobs there, so let's just remove those. So I just want a couple of dimensionals on the back of this, sort of at the banner end and and sort of towards the middle. And we're going to pop that in along somewhere about there. So we've still got some of this nice piercing detail on there, and then we've got our 3 flowers to apply, so I'm just going to put a blob of glue on the back of each of those. To add to our card. So for me, the blue one right next to the green was a little bit weird, so I've made sure that the yellow and the pink ones are closer to the sentiment. So it just didn't, I don't know, just didn't sit well with me having those two colours too close together. Not really sure why, just didn't float to my boat. It's all personal preference. And sort of trying to get them slightly different orientations as well. A bit more difficult with a 4-petaled flower, but nonetheless that's fine. So that's it. That's how we made that card. I hope you have enjoyed that. I think that's a really nice way to use really bright colours to make something that's really pretty and subtle. I really enjoyed that. Okay, so sub out your embossing folder. You know, there are vellum doilies that you could put in behind there. You know, alternate your sentiments and things, change up your colours and make it fit your project. So I hope that's been useful. Please do click the links, have a look, and at all the other inspiration from the rest of the design team, and I hope you join in the challenge this time round. Thanks ever so much, everybody. Take care, see you soon. Bye bye.